All right, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome again, and inshallah, let's get started. Eid Mubarak one more time, inshallah. Eid has been a moment of looking back at what we have learned in Ramadan. There was a receiving in today's newsletter. It, it, it was shared that let me see if I hope you have seen in the newsletter that Sister Fatma Noor had a nice bit reflecting on the meaning of Eid. This was based on Dr. Yamina's lecture on Ramadan and Eid, dating back from a few years ago, and really highlighting the significance of Eid. Why are we so happy? Why do we celebrate Eid? And I was an idealized, of course, version of what Ramadan was, idealized in the sense of what it can be. And inshallah, even if Ramadan is over, we can still continue the openings that we had in Ramadan and revisit the insights that could have come through fasting. And every time, in the text that was shared also in the newsletter, as I have just said, why is each iftar time was like an Eid? Because partly because we're hungry when we're enjoying the food, but that is not the real reason. The reason is that things hopefully started becoming more transparent, or can become more transparent, and we don't just consume the meatballs and the rice and the soup, but we are able to taste the love and the care and the generosity that comes through what is on the plate, and then applying it. Eid is a moment of looking at that reality, that I realize that when I am fed through the love and compassion of my creators. Then this was a very nice way of summarizing what Dr. Yemen has been talking about throughout over the years and receiving Noor. The more we look at our needs as opportunities of tasting beautiful names of God, the more we are open to receiving these sacred divine meanings from beyond. So the last part of that Eid note was, when I'm hungry for love, health, wisdom, or justice, I know, ideally, we hope to know, it is possible to know that this is an invitation from our Lord to notice and taste a sample of his beautiful names. So our today's meeting connects with it nicely as well, because throughout Ramadan, we've been looking at this text from Mesnevi Nuriye in Turkish, by Bediüzzaman Said Nursi, and we have been looking at different clues, insights, intense principles that we can use in our spiritual journey. And the fourth one we want to look into is the I, the self, and how it is a means of recognizing divine artistry and feeling the closeness of our Creator. Well, that was a bit of a long introduction, but with that, we can, inshallah, turn to this text. Unless is there anyone who would like to share anything from last class that stayed with you? Last class, we had read the third principles, how oneness of God has the potential to open up immense felicity, immense happiness for us. And that it was a very strong claim. Felicity of any type is only through submitting to one God. There is no other way, because we are interconnected beings. We are beings that have this comprehensive capacity, and we are attaching, knowingly or unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously, to everything around us, and we do feel pain with the pain and suffering of others. And the only way to then be happy is to find a way to have our needs and the needs of everybody else, or everything else that we are concerned about being met. And that's not possible. I can't do that. No other creature can do that. If we stay there, it's a hellish state. And in contrast, if we recognize that all of these comprehensive connections and needs are calling us to recognize the one in whose hand is all of these, all of the power needed to take care of all of these needs, it's a paradise firdaus like state, Imam Nursi said. And one of the notes from that discussion was Dr. Yamina was highlighting that we tend to confuse between two things. I need things to be under control. That's a human need. I don't want chaos. I don't want things happening haphazardly to me or to other human beings or other creatures. I need things to be under control, but we oftentimes confuse it with I need to be in control, and that's a hellish state because we can't really control anything, not even our own selves, let alone all these things that we are interconnected with. And Dr. Yamina has suggested that we really focus on our need is that things should be under control, and that need is only met through recognizing that there is someone, actually, there is a being with immense power, comprehensive power, and compassion and wisdom who is sustaining everything, and everything is under control in that sense. And she had suggested hamd, praise, sabr, and lots of istighfar as our response to this reality. There's so much to unpack, so much to reflect on, and even more to put into practice in everyday life. So when I thought of this session being a conclusion session, of course, it's not possible to really conclude this journey or even reflecting on the spiritual journey. But let's still try to have another session where we look at the fourth point, and then perhaps we can also have an overall reflection if time allows. With that, Dr. Yamina, did you want to suggest or add anything to this introduction? Or anyone?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. I'd rather everyone else participate and share, inshallah. I don't want to have an overdose of information, inshallah.
Inshallah. So the floor is yours. Anybody who would like to share anything that stayed with you from last class, or anything that you want to put on the table as we go into the fourth point discussion? Okay. Okay, then if something you would like to share, please go ahead when it occurs to you or when you're ready. So how about we have somebody read this bit? Hatice Beza, Zahra Chima, anyone else?
Assalamu alaikum, just the highlighted section.
Yes.
Okay. The fourth, verily, the I, ana, is a black dot and a unit of measurement. The lines of conscious artistry are wrapped around its head, and in them, it is witnessed that the owner is closer to him than him.
So this is the fourth principle after four sentences. fourth sentence after the first one was, I don't own myself, I am not the owner, death is real, my Lord is one. And then I, the self, is actually just a dot, a black dot, and a unit of measurement. Yeah, I wonder why it says it is a black dot. Perhaps elsewhere, if I recall correctly, there's a reference to the black part of the eye, and that's the part of the eye that sees. So it is tiny, it is dark, and yet it is a means through which we see. We receive light through that dark spot on our eye, in our eye. And so perhaps that's a connection to the eye here, that the eye, the self, is like that black dot. On its own, it's dark, but then it is a means through which we relate to the source of light. And it's also a unit of measurement. Now, some years ago, I think 3 years ago, we had a discussion on, among other things, we have been discussing this for a while, but we had a separate class on 11th word, and in that word, from words by Imam Nursi, there was a section talking about human being and how human being has the ability to recognize and reflect the beautiful names of God and worship through that. And it's a longer text, but I excerpted some of it here, thinking that it might help us unpack the self referred to here. Through the self, it seems to claim here that we're able to measure, relate to beautiful names of God, and through we have artistry in us, like other creatures. They are all created and bear artistry of divine, but we are conscious. We are able to be conscious of the artistry in us, or wrapped around its head. I don't know what that exactly means. And then through that we can experience witness that our Creator is closer to us than ourselves.
Actually, in the words, the 30th word, the first part of the 30th word is about the eye and how it functions as a unit of measurement. And so you understand that the conscious artistry that's wrapped around its head, whatever that means, is rather than the artistry of our physical being and the physical world, it's really about something that pertains to the eye itself, our sense of different senses, different emotions, different abilities that we have that actually act as the unit of measurement, like creativity, doing things, understanding things, sensing things, seeing things, smelling things. Smelling, feeling are maybe the most well-known, but the least subtle. There are so many others that pertains to so many, to the human potential, but also to the beautiful names of God, and therefore as a scale and a thermometer, he says there, and a unit of measurement to the beautiful names of God. So if you want to know more about this, 30th word, the first part is about the eye.
Did we study this in receiving note? I think.
I don't think we finished it.
I see.
We didn't do definitely we didn't do the second part, probably didn't even finish the first part. If we did it together online, I mean, we did study it, but where? I don't recall exactly.
Yeah, maybe we haven't done it as part of receiving note public series. Yeah, 30th word is all about the eye and how the eye is
The 30th word is a key word. I mean, it comes, of course, as the 30th, so it's a combination of 29 words that came before, and the 29th word is what we've been studying about, the angels and the ruh. It's very deep, very concise, and very useful as a point of reference. The first part is about the I, and the second one is the dot, the particle that pertains to the seemingly the outer world and how they are interconnected.
It's very deep, but at least we'll get a foretaste of it today, and then we'll put in the chat references for people to look into more. So the conscious artistry in the eye is not simply the artistry of our biology, as Dr. Amina is saying, but also our capacity to relate to beautiful names of God through the self-conscious tools that are given to us. Yeah, it's a whole ocean, but it is possible to get the gist of it and try to apply it in our everyday lives, inshallah. So with that, there's this kind of very short text that I thought could be complementary. Shall we go ahead and read it? And this is from 11th word. Okay, I'll go ahead and read if nobody else is able to. O my senseless soul and foolish friend, do you suppose your life's duty is restricted to following the good life and to gratifying the physical appetites? Do you suppose the sole aim of the delicate and subtle senses, the sensitive faculties and members, the well-ordered limbs and systems, the inquisitive feelings and senses included in the machine of your life, is restricted to satisfying the low desires of the base soul, nafs ammara, in this fleeting life? No way, God forbid. There are two main aims in their creation and inclusion in your essential being. The first consists of making known to you all the varieties of the true bestower's bounties, causing you to offer him thanks. You should be aware of this and offer him thanks and worship. The second is to make known to you by means of your faculties all the sorts of the manifestations of the sacred divine names manifested in the world and to cause you to experience them or make you experience them. And you, by recognizing them through experiencing them, should come to believe in them. Thus, man, human being, develops and is perfected through the achievement of these two basic aims. Through them, man becomes a true human being.
So this is from the 11th word?
It is from the 11th word. I can put it in the chat. It goes on.
We did study the 11th word together.
Yes.
It's also very deep.
Yes, and I will share that in the chat, that playlist. Yeah, it is and it goes on. I mean, if we were to kind of click on this. We had a number of discussions, classes on this text. And Imam Nursi lists this in different layers of one time he talks about 6 different duties that human nature has. In this part, it talks about 9 different ways in which a human being is able to fulfill the aim of their life. And the aim of the life is to consciously mirror the beautiful names of God. And that's the true meaning of your life, and it's perfect happiness, he says. So it's connected to happiness as well, our fulfillment and our happiness, and is related to us doing this, connecting with beautiful names of God. Some of you may recall who had if you had attended those sessions a couple years ago. Imam Mercy offers here a parable of two people given a different amount of capital. One of them is given just 20 gold coins to buy an exquisite dress, and then the other one is given 1,000 coins and given instructions in his pocket to go and do the proper shopping for it. But then the second man, who was being given much more capital, doesn't bother to check the instructions given to him. He just copies the other servant who just went into a store and bought a nice outfit, and he spends his 1,000 gold on trying to get an outfit, and actually he ends up getting a very cheap one at that, gets tricked, and so on. And so that's the comparison between, he says, human being and the animal. We have common needs, we have common emotions. Animals get happy too, and they also need to eat. They also need to earn their livelihood, or get their daily bread. And yet we are given potentialities that are much higher than that, and we need to make a discerning choice to follow our human nature, divinely given nature to us, and it can't be restricted following the good life and gratifying our instant pleasures. In that recording, Dr. Yamina was saying that good life, it's actually not good life, living the good life, meaning being restricting ourselves to instant pleasures and meeting our basic bodily needs, whether it's food or comfort. That's actually not, if we focus ourselves in that level, superficial level, it's actually not a good life even, because we have all these capacities that are yearning for more, and craving, yearning connection with the eternal source, our creator, and yet we're just spending all of that on trying to make a living and have instant pleasure, physical appetite only. Is there anyone who would like to ask a question or make a comment?
I just wondered how this first and second one is, how are they different, and how are they maybe connected? Yeah, according to what the categorization, I wasn't sure. Like, is it a sequence? Like first you do this and then second you do that, or independent to duties? Probably not independent, but yeah.
The first one is talking about gratitude, that recognizing all these varieties of blessings, bounties, blessings, and then responding to it with gratitude, with thanks. And then the second is more directly related to the beautiful names of God, and how are these two duties apart or connected, you're asking.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyone who would have an answer for it before we turn to Dr. Yamina? I think there is, if I were to venture, I think there is a progression here from first to second. And so the first, and at the same time, when you get to second, first is still there. I mean, we need both. In the first gratitude level, it reminds me of what Dr. Yamina has mentioned earlier when we did the first sentence, first principle, I don't own myself. It's a major truth that our ego, our nafs tries to escape from, but it's also it's substantial, foundational spiritual fact that we need to face. And when we're talking about that, she said a lot of things, but one thing that had stayed with me is closest of easiest path to relinquish that claim of ownership. I own myself. This is me. This is mine. This is my emotion. This is my body. This is me. And I'm choosing I, and then to relinquish that imaginary ownership and say, I don't own anything. I don't even own myself. I'm not the owner. She had said that gratitude is the easiest way to get into that mode. And because ego feels imaginary pain in letting go of saying, I don't own anything. I don't own myself. I don't even own myself. I'm not the owner. With gratitude, it's easier even for the ego, because in gratitude, I mean, it's sweet to recognize, wow, I'm being taken care of. I'm being gifted. And then with that, we recognize it's from beyond and not from us. And that is the heart of worship, gratitude. And then, but then we, in addition, there is this conscious reflection on the divine names that the second one is emphasizing. And there's something in the human self that needs to be unlocked for us to manifest beautiful names, recognize the manifestation, and then reflect it consciously on ourselves. I don't know, Fatma, if that helps. Maybe you already thought of this as well. But that's what appears to me, that there is a distinction between gratitude and recognizing, admitting, honestly admitting that this is not from me, it's from beyond, and I'm grateful for it to the one who's given, and then through my faculties relating the beautiful names of God. This is making sense. Any questions? Any other questions? Dr. Yamina, if you want to share anything to enlighten us further. I do know that you prefer people to speak, so that's why I'm kind of trying to press
As
you.
you said, it's the second step. The second one is a step further in awareness of what's going on, but the language used is also worth noting. He doesn't say you become aware. He says, or you know. He says, the first consists of making known to you. Because, like, how do we know this is a gift, a bounty, a blessing, a ni'mah? It just, we are made to like it. We find the like in ourselves, which makes some things ni'mah. Again, of course, I don't want to go deeper, which is the need. But at the beginning, we are not aware that it is because we have a need. Through that need, I am made to communicate with the world in a certain way. Becoming aware of our need and then becoming aware of the function of our need is higher and higher awareness. But at the first, we find out that we are a variety of ni'mah, of blessings, is made known to us, and we are caused to offer thanks. It's not like I decide to offer thanks. I am filled with gratitude. I'm filled with appreciation. And now the thing is, who am I going to ascribe this appreciation to? So he's saying you should be aware of this and offer him thanks and worship. So the appreciation is given to me anyway. I can use it horizontally, معنى اسمي, to the thing itself, and it's not worship, it's shirk. And I am going into a road that leads nowhere, leads actually to lots of disappointments. Or I can pause and reflect and find out that the liking, the appreciation is given to me, the pleasure of receiving the gift is also everything, the gift is given to me, the appreciation is given to me, the pleasure is given to me, and then recognize that there is a bestower of blessings. There is a Razaq, a Wahhab, and then I thank him, I appreciate him. I'm aware that everything that's flowing through me is through him, and that becomes worship. My thanks there, my appreciation, is transformed into worship. But the second one is, as you had mentioned in the beginning, deeper, because now it's not just a blessing, a gift, but the gift is an embodiment of the beautiful names. And this is because it's only this part, but actually when we studied the 11th word, you will see how he takes you step by step to recognize how they are. It's an embodiment of the names of God. So that's a higher awareness, and therefore getting closer to God. And it says, and again, it is to make known to you, again, by means of your faculties, all the sorts of the manifestation of the sacred divine names manifested in the world, and to cause you to experience them. We experience them, the divine names. And you, by recognizing the divine names through the manifestations of the divine names, of course, not the divine names directly, and by recognizing the manifestations of the divine names through experiencing them, should come to believe in them. And this is, of course, in, I don't know about in the 11th word, but in various places, believing and experiencing the beautiful names is not the end of the ladder of Tawheed. The ladder of Tawheed is to recognize that they all belong to one and only one, and that is only possible when, with a higher awareness, that will unlock when we make the choice to surrender to the reality totally. And the surrender is that truly I don't own myself. Truly, my owner is the owner of everything. Malik al-Mulk. To the extent that we live in that state, that's when everything will fit into its place. And a breakthrough, there is a breakthrough there. We become aware, self-aware, aware of ourselves as well, not only aware of the world outside, not only aware of our emotion and this and that, but aware of when I'm seeing, I'm not the one seeing. When I'm witnessing, I'm not the one witnessing. I only own one thing, is as Imam Nursi says, the needs and the choice. I make the choice to accept the reality rather than resist it and deny it and pretend that I am the owner. Because when I pretend I'm the owner, then it's like a black dot that makes me not see the reality. It blocks all the light. That's explained in the 30th word.
Dr. Yamina, so we are needs plus choice, that's all?
That belongs to us.
Yeah. So even the things like,
I mean, needs, Imam Nur said you can own your needs because, like, what is a need? It's just not having something.
and even the things that seem to be like not needs, but meeting of the needs, like our sense of agency or,
But
creativity.
that's all given.
Yeah, but all of that, and that's the kind of key.
Keeps he is saying he makes known to you. He makes you. He makes. And
Maybe that's why it's connected first with gratitude, because I have to really recognize that these faculties, these gifts are not mine, they're given to me. They're part
in
of
the beginning, we
beautiful
need to
bounties.
appreciate the faculties themselves.
Yeah.
And
So,
then, because
yeah.
it's a journey, and then we realize that the faculties themselves are
Point
not only, yeah.
beyond. Yeah.
But that's not here yet. Here is just using the faculties.
I mean, here it's like the two major duties, actually, it's already here, don't you think? Because one part of two main aims is gratitude, and then the second has many layers. That's what you're
Yeah,
saying.
but that's what I said, like, because it's a journey, when we start the second here, lots of people will stop at the first. And then when you start the second, you can still have we may still be unaware that our faculties are also given to us. It seems like I am appreciating, I am the appreciator, I am the one witnessing. So it's a level. So what you're saying is it could be put in the second, but it's not explicitly, it's not mentioned explicitly at this level, at this step. But unless we get to that level, then Tawheed will always be missing. It means the door to shirk is always going to be open. Once we get there, does it mean that we always stay at that level? No, but it means that our level of istighfar is higher because I'm already aware of the reality. So if I make the choice to surrender to that reality, and I make the choice to be in a state of istighfar, then I am more likely to surrender quicker, more often, inshallah.
Dr. Yamin, I couldn't fully follow what you have just said. You said it's not that something, that part I missed, but rather the level of istighfar is going to change. What is that first thing you said? When you come to the second, it's not that something, I couldn't follow that part. Does anyone have an idea what I'm asking? You talked about levels of istighfar, as opposed to
The level of istighfar. are parallel to the levels of awareness,
Mm.
which is the level of surrendering to the reality. And the ultimate surrender is total sajda, total, I do not own myself. It means I am totally owned. I'm totally owned means my Rabb is 100% the owner. There is no 80%, 90%, and that's only in our own imagination. It's an illusion. The reality is 100%. He's the owner. It means 0%. That's why we make istighfar, because sometimes it seems like it's not 0%. I'm really, really simplifying it. Unless we have an experience, we have experienced 0%, then our istighfar will not reflect that awareness. This is the goal, is to, and it's not a goal that depends on knowing more, living more. No, it's a goal that is related, connected directly to our choice. Here, now, I can make that choice. And that choice is not an intellectual choice, it's a total surrender. And it needs to be nourished and sustained by renewing the choice, renewing the intention. And the more we renew, the more we will experience it differently. We will start feeling tasting what it means that I'm owned, which means that our Rabb is the full owner. Then, of course, witnessing and experiencing the manifestations of the beautiful names of God in everything will become easier and more accessible. It will be made more accessible. Because actually it is there to be experienced. We don't experience it because we're holding back.
Mm. Mm. I can make that choice of surrender here and now.
I don't need a reason. I don't need to see more evidence, and no. That's again what we make up things as if I need more evidence or I need to have more experience, or no, it's a choice.
Mm-hmm. It's not blind faith as the pillar of a key aspect of the Quran is calling us to see the signs of God. It's not a blind faith, and in receiving Nur, the motto is grounded faith. But that doesn't mean that there is no existential choice involved. That as we see the signs, as we see evidence that we are not in control, but there is a powerful and all-knowing and all compassion creator that's in control, then there comes a choice, as I hear you saying, Dr. Yamina, that we need to make that choice, and that choice is a choice. You could say yes, you could say no.
And when we make that choice, all the evidences that we saw in the world outside and within us will become even more
visible,
clearer,
Brighter.
experiences, then we'll get even more grounded and it becomes easier to surrender. And it won't be like, oh, I have to surrender as if I'm making a sacrifice. What will happen to me? Then who am I? There is no such a thing as who am I anymore because we changed paradigm totally. It's all about who is my Rabb, because he's the only one we can rely on. Why would I want to have to be an entity when I know that I can't rely on? I can't even control my breath. That hypocrisy of or based on those illusions won't be there anymore, even if it's not a state of being, a hand that is constant, especially at the beginning. It is a hand that gives much joy and much peace, groundedness.
No, it's, what did you say? It's a hand?
A hal, a state of being.
Ah, okay. I couldn't hear it right. Okay. Yeah. As you were talking, the image of Musa alayhi salam came to my mind. When he throws the staff, it swallows up all what the sorcerers threw down. And those illusions, the more we make that choice of surrender, the more the illusory nature of, you know, our delusions become clear, that it becomes more clear that really everything is praising God, really everything is pointing to God. I wanted to share the link, and I'll put this under the video description as well. But here it's a playlist, and this particular part 1 is where it talks more about how to use the I, the self, as a tool to recognize beautiful names of God. Put it in the chat. Actually, we even had a chart. Sister Natila had made a chart of like a PowerPoint of step 1, step 2, because Imam Nursi goes into more explicit examples of how do we bear witness to beautiful names of God. I'll see if I can share that, and we can maybe further improve that as well. Opening with the keys of your faculties, the hidden treasures of sacred divine names, to consciously display the wondrous arts and subtle manifestations which the divine names have attached to you. And then through taking as units of measurement the small samples of attributes like partial knowledge, power, and will. We have all these partial faculties: knowing, wanting, planning, feeling love, compassion, or beauty. These are help us relate the beautiful absolute attributes and beautiful sacred qualities of the all glorious Creator. Yeah, we have talked about these in detail in that series of 11th word, as well as in other halakas. An example that he gives here is, through your partial power, knowledge, and will, you have made your house in a well-ordered fashion. you should know that since you do that, the maker of the palace of the world is its disposer, powerful, knowing, and wise to the degree it's greater than your house. So by taking care of the house, I can get a glimpse of relating to the one who sustains and runs the whole world, the whole universe, in a scale that is incomparable actually to my partial power and knowledge and will. And then to recognize all of those qualities are just gifts. They are 100% owned. As somebody had said a couple halakas ago, we are 100% God's property. But we are given these tools, the eye, and in ourself and the soul to relate to the beautiful names of God, to the Creator, and to recognize that I find this very exciting, that I can witness through it that my owner is closer to me than myself. I can witness that I have an owner that's intimate, that's close to me than myself.
That's a need that we have, but we are unaware of our need because we have all those claims that I have to do that. I have to be in control. I have to be strong. I have to do all those things. And we are putting all these loads on ourselves that we cannot bear, or these burdens. But in fact, that's what we need. And that's the only option that we have for true fulfillment, true lasting happiness.
And it comes back to the beginning in this way. It started with I don't own myself, and then the ultimate progression of that is that thereby I recognize that I am owned by the Creator who's closer to me, and that's a need that I have. So the I is a black dot, like the black dot in the eye, the human eye. Okay, this is the same word, the I. Ana, the self, is like a black dot, as if it's in our biological eye. That blackness in the biological eye is where the light is entering and where we see. And so the I is that the self, the soul given to us, the ana, the capacity to be a conscious self, is actually such a major gift. Conscious artistry, packed with conscious artistry. Feels like these principles and the concepts, the four concepts were Mane, Harfi, Ismi, Niyyah, and Nadar, intention and perception. All of these are opening up huge doors into this whole new world that looks extremely exciting and extremely also well-grounded, truthful. That's how it feels, at least for me. And I'm grateful that we had some opportunity to talk about this and together in Ramadan, and today is our last session. And I'm very grateful, Dr. Yamina, for your insightful explanations. So I guess we can stop here, unless if there's anyone who would like to share anything overall with about these sessions or about today. You're welcome to do so. Any questions to Dr. Yamina? you could do that. It's a good time as well. Otherwise, we can just end today's session here, inshallah. Okay, so
when I do you hear me?
yeah, Fatma Nur, yeah.
Uh, when I used to read this part, when it says delicate and subtle senses, the sensitive faculties and members, yeah, when I would all the time think about what subtle senses I do have. Like I was thinking like maybe kind of imagination or very, I don't know. I think I thought that they should be very elevated type of senses. Maybe I am not even aware of. But today I thought that maybe because of the experience of fasting, I mean, just that like maybe I tend to think that tasting or fulfilling my hunger, it is something ordinary, and it is not in this category. I would think it is not a delicate and subtle sense like tasting. I do it every day, but yes, when I use it only for transitory pleasures, yes, I don't understand its real value. It's why it seems to me low, lowly sense maybe. But today I thought that all of those senses are included in this category, like tasting, hearing, seeing. It depends how I use them, how I look at them. Just that.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, there is a subtle way of tasting and subtle way of eating. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. In that recording that I shared from the class from a couple years ago, there was an example about a dog eating and a human being eating. And it doesn't look like, I mean, the dog is enjoying the food as well, but it doesn't look like the dog minds, you didn't give me the presentation of the food wasn't very beautiful, or the plate wasn't decorated, or the way you gave it, you didn't smile at me. Like the dog doesn't seem to care about all these subtle things that we as human beings have a need to, right? I mean, if you're terribly hungry and somebody just throws you some food, yeah, I mean, you're hungry, but then why did he throw it? I have a need for dignity that manifests in that moment of me trying to eat even. So these delicate and subtle senses are not necessarily what I'm understanding you saying, separate from, distinct from what we think as our basic senses or basic faculties. It's connected, yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Fatma. Are there any comments or questions? Okay, so then with that, we stop here. Dr. Yamina, did you want to say any final words? Even though you have shared a lot, Jazakallah khair, but any final words as we go?
Carry on, especially the experience of Ramadan. Maybe in Ramadan, there are so many other things going on, so it's not always easy to pause and reflect, but we have the 6 days of Shawwal to renew that and keep the momentum. The climax is the Eid al-Adha, inshallah. That's where we slaughter our idols, inshallah.
Climax is Eid al-Adha.
I mean, the whole system is put in order to facilitate for us to live with ihsan in the presence of God and making that decision to surrender to the reality easier and easier for us, inshallah. So let's take this opportunity and make the best of it, inshallah. And lots of istighfar for ourselves and for everyone else and for the world.
Inshallah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khair. And so with that, we stop here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. There's a comment. I loved the part that we all are needs and choices. Vildan says. We're needs and choices. Yeah, that is a great point. Thank you for reminding us that, Vildan. Any other parting words before we finish?
I don't know how to word it. I mean, I missed the last two sessions. I only attended the first two ones. I also missed your introduction. That is why I wasn't at home. The timing was not that good for me, so that's why. But this comment Dr. Yamina had about what we internetim koptu.
No, we hear you.
Do you hear me?
Oh.
Maybe I shouldn't have tried to explain. It's really difficult. I don't know how to word it, but I personally focus a lot to understand the me part in the creation, but it seems more difficult than making sense what God is. I don't know. I will not be able to explain.
Making sense of me, like the self?
Yes. But the other day I was doing dishes and I saw this girl from the window. She reminded of me, the younger version of myself. Like she was maybe 20 or something. She was tidying up her clothes and rushing on the road. And she looked a lot like me when I was at her age. So I stopped and thought for a moment, like that me is totally different than now me in my 40s. That I felt like a stranger in my whole body. It's like I stopped. Like I have those needs. I keep saying I must do that. I have different worries, and but the needs and the worries I had at her age were also completely different. I also sometimes stumble upon stuff I wrote when I was younger, and they all seemed like how do you say
Distant.
genius ideas back then, and they seem so stupid. And I don't understand which is me, where is me, what is me. It seems so complicated, and yet we waste so much time on the me part rather than, I don't know, I couldn't explain it. Trying to get him and surrender on the, I don't know, his presence and nothingness of us. I don't know. I couldn't explain it, anyways. But that really resonated with me. The needs and the church is all what we are. That will make the difference of who am I to another person, maybe.
when we make the choice
Mhm,
to surrender to the reality
mhm,
that he is the owner, then it'll become more, it's not something that I need to understand. We will just witness and look, and our life, myself and everyone else, are mirrors, just like everything else is mirroring the manifestation of the beautiful names of God. So it won't be like, oh, it was so, why did I think it was genius that time? It's so foolish now. It will be just, oh, mashallah, tabarakallah. That was a manifestation. This is a manifestation. It's just like the body of a child. If you take it as an adult, the proportions are really, if you take a child and make it an adult size, it will be a strange adult. But as a child, is so adorable. And we are used to, our eye is used to, and we appreciate the shape of the adult and the shape and form of the child at different ages. And each of them is a beautiful manifestation of the beautiful names of God. And so is the inner side of us. And when we are not, like the mirror is not showing something very pretty, istighfar. I was blocking the flow. Oh, then I need to make more istighfar. Therefore, more istighfar means more gratitude. True istighfar needs to gratitude and more paying attention to just let everything be a channel, be that mirror, surrendering mirror, a conscious mirror to the beautiful names of God, and being at awe. And we become then the conscious witnesser. That's why witnessing Shahada is so important in Islam. But there are, of course, degrees of Shahada. It becomes beautiful looking at the past. You like something, Alhamdulillah. You don't like something, Astaghfirullah. And everything will become something beautiful now. يُبَدِّلُ اللَّهُ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ حَسَنَاتٍ. Allah changes all their bad things into beautiful things when there is Iman, Tawbah, Amal Salih.
inshallah.
Inshallah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jazakallah khair. This was a nice parting gift. Thank you for asking and sharing, Vildan. And thank you very much, Dr. Yamina, for giving us more insights. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. Beautiful, alhamdulillah. So we stop here and we're grateful for this opportunity to be exposed to these beautiful insights, and may we consciously choose to live with them, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair, everyone, and Dr. Yamina.